This is Gene Delisio with a featured sports interview from WDLB and WOSQ. Leigh Fish was a standout in tennis, gymnastics, and soccer at Marshfield High School between 1991 and 1995. In tennis, Leigh was a three-time conference champion, Tiger Most Valuable Player in 1993 and 1994, and the only Marshfield High School player to qualify for the state girls individual singles tournament and also win a match at the state tournament all 4 years. She also played on Marshfield State runner-up team of 1994 and qualified for the state gymnastics meet in 3 different events and also earned all state honors in 1993, 1994, and 1995. Leigh was inducted into the Marshfield Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame in 2015.
It's really cool. It's exciting. I had so much fun in high school just doing sports. I grew up doing tons of sports, and I just feel really fortunate that I got to be on these teams with tons of really good athletes. And, you know, I just grew up playing with a lot of tennis players. We were talking earlier, Trisha Gust was here, and she was on my team, and we were talking about how we played every day as kids, and we played against each other every single day all summer long, and we helped each other get better. And so it's really cool to kind of come back and kind of celebrate all the success that we had as a team, and it's just kind of a fun time.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because 2 years ago, Jeff Hardiker was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And one of the items he talked about was he had 10 or 12 kids from his neighborhood who went out every day and played tennis together. And usually you think of kids going out playing baseball together or basketball together. It's not a sport you think of. You're out and get 12 guys to play tennis together. But was there a lot of that back when you were a kid? A lot of kids just playing tennis every day?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I think of everybody I went to elementary school with, and those were the girls that were on the varsity tennis team, and we were sitting out at River Edge right now, and that's where we started playing tennis. And my mom would drive my brother and I out here, and we were playing with all the kids in our neighborhood, and we just continued to play with those same kids all through junior high, all through high school. And I think a lot of what happened too is there was a lot of success in tennis before my group came along, and so it was the sport to play. I think especially the girls that were good athletes wanted to be part of the tennis program, and there was a real program going on. You know, there was somewhere for us to play, there were people to play against, we would go to tournaments in the summer, and it was just kind of a story of success would breed more success.
You mentioned in your talk about your brothers and the influence they had on you athletically. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have 2 older brothers, Brian and Jeff, both of whom were very good athletes. Jeff was a track star. I mean, he's this little guy, and he made it to the finals of the 100-meter dash at state. And then the next year he decided he was going to play golf, and he made it to state in golf too, and he was a superstar basketball player. And he was always just really tough on me. You know, Jeff and I fought a lot as kids, as brothers and sisters do, and I think he just made me a tough kid. And he just, we would always play basketball after dinner and play football in the front yard, and it was tackle football. You know, they didn't care that I was their little sister and that, you know, we beat each other up. And so I always played sports with them. And Brian ran cross country, and he was a really good basketball player, and he played tennis as well, and I think was number 1 player on the tennis team for a year there. And I just always wanted to be cool like my older brothers, and they were really good athletes, they were really good students, and I think I just wanted to do what they were doing.
How come Brian didn't make you a golfer?
Brian actually is a really good golfer. And I'm not sure if he had a different sport during golf season or not, but he's still a really good golfer. And Jeff's still a really good golfer.
Well, tell us about getting involved in the Tiger program, especially some of the early influences you had with Coach Kaler.
Coach Kaler, I think initially when I was just playing junior high tennis, and Coach Swenson was always our coach, and I don't think I always knew who Coach Kaler was because I was just a kid in junior high, and Coach Kaler picked out a few of us who had done well in junior high and thought, hey, maybe I can use you on the varsity team. And he asked me to kind of try out for the varsity team when I was in 9th grade. And this is back when 9th grade was still at the junior high. I think a few years later it became part of the senior high, and so it really felt separate. And so that summer, I mean, I was a 4'11", 105-pound little shrimp, and I was all of a sudden playing with these girls that I had looked up to and knew that they had been successful. And he asked me to be on the team, and we had all these challenge matches, and I ended up doing well. I ended up kind of earning my way onto the team and winning a few matches. And you know, as the season went along, it just kind of went well. And I don't know that I was an amazing player, but I just didn't want anybody to beat me, and I just didn't let anybody beat me. And ended up having a great season, and I owe a lot of that success to Kaler kind of recognizing that I may have had the ability to get there if I just had the chance.
What kind of a coach was he in terms of bringing out the best in your talents?
Yeah, Coach Kaler was a quiet coach. Like he knew so much about tennis, and he never said a lot, but he told us what he wanted us to do, and we listened to him. And he wasn't the kind of guy who would ever get angry at us or yell at us, but every once in a while something happened and Coach got mad, and if Coach ever raised his voice, it was a big deal and it freaked us out. And I think he had so much success in the past, and we wanted to do right by him, and we wanted to do a good job, and we knew that he knew what he was doing, and we would listen to him. But he knew a lot of tennis strategy, and he really had us do a lot of drills that were really specific for who we were going to play and how we needed to build as tennis players. And you know, I remember before we went to team state in my senior year, it was the first year there was a team state tournament in Madison, and we knew we'd end up playing these really good teams from the Milwaukee area, and that they were the kind of girls who played tennis year round, and we were going to try to hang with them. And he said, you girls need to hit every shot behind the baseline. So we spent weeks, our drills for the first half hour of practice were always, I'd hit behind the baseline to whoever I was hitting with, and she'd hit it back to me. And if you hit it short, or the service line, if you hit it short of the service line, you lost the point. And we just had to learn how to keep the ball deep. And that was like, there was no other way to play, but you got to hit it hard and hit it deep. And he'd have us do drills where we had to hit it, then it had to exit the sideline, and we had to be working on those cross-court shots and really just a lot more strategy and being really consistent with hitting the ball deep and hitting winners. And he just had us, he knew the kind of drills we needed to do to get to where we needed to go.
I want to backtrack a bit, Leigh, because you mentioned Ken Swenson, and I think he's kind of a guy who is really an unsung hero in the success of that program, being the junior high coach, Coach Kaler's assistant. What did Ken teach you, and what did he mean to the success overall of that program?
I just always think of Ken Swenson as such a great guy. Actually, his wife was my 3rd grade teacher, and then I had him as a teacher in junior high, and he probably had 40 girls on his tennis team, and he was such a nice guy, and somehow managed to wrangle us all and get us all into the same program. But we were all so enthusiastic about playing, and I think I always had fun being part of his team, and he knew a lot of tennis too, and he spent the summers with Mr. Kaler. The two of them would put on our camps in the summer, so I think it would be like 6 or 8 weeks every summer. The two of them would have a camp that we would all go to, and we'd play a few hours every single day, and they were really there drilling us into how to be good players and how to be consistent. And that's how we all kind of, I think, grew together. And because we were playing each other, we were all getting better together. And I really always feel that we were very interchangeable. There were so many girls, we had so much depth. The girls playing number 4 singles could have played number 1 singles and won, and same with the doubles. And it was just because of kind of the depth that Swenson and Kaler created with those summer camps.
How did your knowledge about tennis improve in terms of your strategy as a high school player? You came up as a varsity player as a freshman, played for 4 years, and probably as a freshman or an eighth grader, you were hitting the ball over the net, just pounding the ball by people, and that was great. But I'm sure Coach Kaler taught you the strategy of the game and how to beat specific opponents. How did that improve in your tennis game over the years?
That's a good question. I think when it boils down to it, I think my strategy was always that I just ran around a lot, and I'm a small girl, and especially when I was, in high school, and I'm not sure how much I realized I was having strategy, but I was quick and defensive, and I didn't have a lot of power. So I think if I played somebody who wasn't, as high level, I maybe had a strategy and was working on how I'm playing against this person. But in reality, I played a lot of people who were a lot bigger and stronger and better than me, and I was just hanging in there.
What about the state tournament experiences at Marshfield? You had 4 years as an individual, a team tournament as well. Tell us about some of the highlights of the state tournament.
Yeah, state was always really fun. It was an awesome experience to go down to Madison and get to play at Nielsen, and it felt like a whole new league. You get down there and you're playing girls you've never seen, and I just always had a lot of fun, but I think the biggest highlight was my senior year, of course, when we got to go as a team. It was the first year there was a team state tournament, and we had done so amazingly all year long. Like, everybody won everything at every tournament we went to. Like, we were just such a deep, strong team, and so it was really cool to get to state, and everybody got to play as a team, and we went up against the tough schools, and we made it to the finals, and it was actually really emotional. I was kind of surprised when I played that last match, and I knew it was going to be my very last high school tennis match, and I got kind of emotional on the court at the very end, knowing I wasn't going to have the chance to do that anymore. But it was a great way to go out, because as a team we got second place at state, and we had just had an unbelievable season, and we just had a ton of fun.
Can you talk about some of the teammates you had in tennis over the years?
Yeah, I hit a lot with Eileen Moran, who was an excellent tennis player, super basics, fundamentals, just a really good athlete, and I think grew up playing with her a lot. Same with Katie Hall and Julie Goldberg. They played doubles. Trisha Gust, who was also in the Hall of Fame, who was an amazing athlete. She was in my grade, and so we grew up kind of playing tennis through junior high and high school together. Those girls were really good players and went really far and succeeded a lot. And they're also a lot of the girls that I played with when I was 10 years old, which is kind of crazy that we stuck through it the whole way and got to share those experiences together.
How about your gymnastics career? Tell us about that.
I love gymnastics so much. I think I wish that when I was a kid that we had a lot of gymnastics going on in the city, but I think it was something that was still kind of growing and small, and I will always love gymnastics. I'm still obsessed with gymnastics. I travel around the country to go to meets, and I follow everything, and I'm a super fan. And it really started when I was a little kid. I think my mom just made us do every single sport, and I just love gymnastics. I think I was just it's just fun flipping around. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I think I tried to do whatever I could to learn things in gymnastics, and I wanted to go to camp all the time, and I wanted to just soak up everything I could soak up and try to learn new skills. And it was a little bit hard at that time in Marshfield, but I did everything I could to kind of learn new skills and be able to it's just fun to do gymnastics. I was just trying to, I wanted to do another flip or another twist, or
How did your gymnastics career improve, do you think, during your high school career?
That's a good question. I think in gymnastics, as you grow a little bit, you get stronger. And, as you're a little pipsqueak, and I'm trying to just do the most basic, which seem right now really basic skills to do, like on bars, and you're just not strong enough because you're 85 pounds. And as you spend more time conditioning and getting stronger and getting some more air awareness, it just you become more capable of doing some harder skills. And as I spent some summers going to some camps, and I would learn how to do more skills, then it just became more fun.
Tell us about the coaching you got in gymnastics at Marshfield High School.
Yeah, so Mrs. Welch was the gymnastics coach, and she, she was always there for us and helping us out and showing us what we could do. And then also Shauna Davis, she was the assistant coach, and her daughters were on the team. And she had a gymnastics background, and she would really get in there and spot us and let us throw some tricks that maybe we shouldn't have been throwing. And and she was so impressive because every once in a while Shauna would whip out some gymnastics herself. And she was like my friend's mom, and here she is doing backflips, and I was super impressed with her. So it was always a lot of fun.
So that was a fun sport for you, and you had good success in gymnastics as well. Tell us about some of the highlights of your gymnastics career.
In gymnastics, I think I started out as a freshman. I did well on vault, and I think I won the conference title on vault as a freshman. And through the years, I think I grew, and I was always good on tumbling, good at floor, and good on vault, but I was not always so great on beam and bars. And as I progressed through the years, I got some more skills, and I got better on those events, and I got more consistent. And I had a few meets along the way that I really did well at, and had a lot of high places. And I think what happened, I was looking back at this is 20 years ago now, I was looking back at the placements at regionals and sectionals and conference and all these tournaments, and I thought, gosh, I did so well my junior year. What happened in my senior year? I don't even know. And I looked back, and I had I'd won everything at regionals, and then we got to sectionals, and I had missed making state on like 3 events by like 1 place. And so I think I had a good season, if I can remember correctly, but I had teeny tiny little things in gymnastics, 1 foot out of bounds or 1 little wobble on the beam changes your place. But I really look back at all my gymnastics career with so many good memories. It was just a lot of fun, and it's something that I still carry with me today. I mean, my husband will attest to how much of a super fan I am when it comes to gymnastics.
Well, you also had some academic honors while a student in high school. Tell us about your academic career, especially some of the teachers at Marshfield, maybe who were non-coaches, who really influenced you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Marshfield was a great school. I feel like I got to go somewhere where we had really good programs and really good teachers. And, I think back, I actually saw Mr. Euclides last night, who was an English teacher, and then I was the sports editor on Yearbook, and he was always in charge of the Yearbook. And, he's like my friend on Facebook now. And I just think that's so cool that when you live in these small towns and your teachers remember who you are. And I think that's cool. He's someone that stands out to me. Mr. Zeiker was another English teacher who was he was a basketball coach at the university. I have a lot of good memories of Mr. Carlin. His daughter was my friend, and I was in his class. I just have good memories of growing up in Marshfield in general. It's a small town, and there wasn't always 800 things going on at once, but it was a really great place to grow up. And I feel really fortunate to have a great family and to be brought up in a kind of a wholesome environment, and I feel really fortunate for that.
Former Marshfield Tiger tennis, gymnastics, and soccer standout Leigh Fish inducted into the Marshfield Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame in the fall of 2015. This is Gene Delisio for WDLB and WOSQ Sports.